Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about illuminated letters. Illuminated letters are usually the first letter or word in a manuscript or a book, and they're usually very decorative and they're meant to kind of bring excitement to the page. Now, illuminated letters are something that actually started a really long time ago. The first time illuminated letters were used were actually by Egyptians on their hieroglyphics on the walls, but they're most popular and most well known for being used in medieval Europe during the Middle Ages. So first of all, why are they called illuminated letters? The word illuminate means to fill with light. So the reason they were called illuminated was because they would use in the Middle Ages something called gold leaf on the letters, which would make the letters sparkly and shiny and gold. Illuminated letters are usually the first letter on the page or sometimes the first word. They're meant to bring a lot of attention to the page to show that it's important. And the cool thing about illuminated letters is that they're not just bubble letters. They're decorated to kind of fit with the theme of the page they're on. So sometimes they would have animals, sometimes they would have mythological creatures, sometimes they would have plants or things like that. Kings would order illuminated letters to be used in their historical and important documents so that those documents would look really important to other kings or other leaders when they would read them. There are tons of examples of these in all sorts of books. You'd see them a lot in religious texts like Bibles and things like that as well. And you would see things like angels around the letters. They're really very beautiful and they're amazing to see in person. And what I wanted to do with you guys today, after we talked about this, is I wanted to encourage you to kind of take some ideas from the illuminated letters and make your own illuminated name tag, or I guess just picture with your name in it. So you can see I did Miss Bruss, which, my name. And for my illuminated letters, I did make them bubble letters, which I will show you how to do in a little bit. And then for each letter, I added some decorations around it that showed who I am and the things that I like. So just like an illuminated letter in a manuscript or a book is meant to show what that book is about, I would like you to try to make your illuminated name represent what you are about and the things that you like. So I have a mountain with mine. I have one of my cats, Phoenix, here, my other cat, Leon, over here. I love plants, so I have plants. Y'all know I love rainbows, so I got my rainbows, flowers, paintbrush, and then down here I drew some just nature stuff. I had a lot of fun taking my time adding lots of details after I did my bubble letters. So I'd love to show you guys how you can make one similar to this of your own, but of course you should be adding your own details and things you like. If you like sports, or if you like fashion, or if there's a video game you really love, you can incorporate it into your illuminated name. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. The first thing we want to do is, of course, decide what letters you want to do for your project. Now, if your name is super long, maybe you want to do a nickname, or maybe you just want to do your initials. Whatever you choose is completely fine, but just decide that before you start drawing. You definitely want to start with a pencil first, and the reason for that is because with these, we're going to be doing a lot of erasing. I also recommend that you draw very lightly. However, know that I'm not going to draw lightly because I want to make sure you can see. So you guys draw lightly and don't do what I'm doing. I'm going to be pressing really hard so you can see. So first of all, we want to decide the letters. Since I already did Miss Bruss, I'm going to do my first name this time. And I'm going to start by writing out my name in regular letters. Now I have done a video on YouTube about how to make bubble letters, and I will link that in the description if you want to watch that as well. So start with regular letters, and then what you're going to do is basically trace around each one to create the bubble letter. You could have them be round on the edges, or they can be more square. I'm going to start by tracing on this side of my letter K. When I get to the bottom, I'm going to go a little below, do a straight line across, and then go back up. and then go across. So for this one, I'm not doing round bubble letters. I'm having them be a little more sharp on the edges. It doesn't matter which one you choose. If you want to do it more like the historical illuminated letters, you want them to be a little more sharp on the edges. But see how I trace around? And when I get to the A, you want to trace inside that too. All right, so you might be thinking it's time to trace over these with Sharpie, but I say don't do that yet. You might want to decide what decorations you're going to add to each letter before you do your Sharpie. As you can see here, my cats, they're overlapping the letters. This U I turned into a rainbow with clouds. I did that over some of the letter too. So maybe draw out your background stuff first. For my illuminated letters, I'm going to draw different pets I have to go with each letter. So I think on this one, I'm going to draw my cat, Phoenix. So I have him interacting with the letter. He's kind of grabbing onto the letter, and it's not just like a random picture next to it. That's one of the important things with illuminated letters, is you want the different pieces to be interacting with each other. Now for my letter A, I think I'll draw one of my pet shrimp. I actually have pet shrimp in one of my fish tanks. For Y, I will draw my other cat, Leon. For this one, notice how I even have the tail overlapping onto the front of the letter. That's something that you can do too. For the letter L, I'm going to draw one of the fish I have in my tank, and he's called a dojo loach. He's really long. I'm gonna have him wrap around the letter. My last one, I'll draw one of my angelfish kind of behind. Okay, so I went ahead and I drew just pets this time. You might draw like your favorite sport, you might draw what activities you like. You can make it any sort of way. You can see how different both of these are from each other. Once you have most of your designs and details drawn out, then you can go over with Sharpie. I think for this one, the bottom looks empty and kind of boring to me, so I'm gonna add some drips that I can color in rainbow later. All right, I'm gonna trace in Sharpie. When you're tracing, you do not want to trace over the inside of your bubble letters. That is something we will erase after we're done. All right, so now that I traced everything, something I like to do is take my eraser and I like to erase out the centers of all of the bubble letters. Something that also looks nice is if you did use Sharpie to trace over your pencil, just erase kind of around all of the Sharpie lines so that you can get rid of the pencil. If you traced in maybe like a color pencil or a crayon or a regular marker, you might want to be careful about erasing around it. Otherwise, go ahead and erase that stuff out. All right, and now, of course, is the fun part where I get to color it in. And of course, you can use any colors you want. If you have like a gold metallic color pencil or crayon at home, that could be kind of cool to use. But I'm just gonna go ahead and use colors that I think will be fun and pretty for my project. All right, and I am all done coloring in my second illuminated letter drawing. Obviously this one I moved a little quick with. This one actually took me a while, but I had a lot of fun coloring it in and taking my time. But either way, they still look really nice. So just make sure you guys are taking your time, thinking about what kinds of pictures you can add to yours to make it represent you. And most importantly, have fun, you guys.